today we're going to be looking at a bag. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel Kazzalistic, and hi to my new subscribers. Thank you very much for joining me. I don't know where you've come from, but you're very welcome. So today we're going to be looking at this bag. This is actually my third time recording this. I'm having a lot of problems with my camera, so here's hoping third time lucky. So this bag obviously has a border at the top. It's got a houndstooth design in the main bit, and then the bottom is actually a circular disc, as you can see there. I haven't lined my bag, but as you can see it can hold quite a lot. I'm actually going to use mine as a project bag. Now the pattern does call for Aran weight yarn. I've used DK, so mine obviously has come up slightly smaller than the actual pattern would have been had I used the correct yarn. Yeah, and this does use the tapestry technique, which I will talk about as well. So the pattern comes from this booklet, which came with the Simply Crochet Magazine, and it came with issue number 62. I think it was around about September, October, somewhere around that latter part of last year anyway. So the pattern is called the Pied-de-poule pattern by Mariana Guerra, if I've pronounced that right. That's better if focused that time. Woohoo! I think I know what the problem was. Right. My first two takes I've got new lights, look, which work. But I put the lights on and the camera was having problems focusing on anything I did close to. So I think I'm going to have the lights off when I'm recording, which is very annoying. I will show you what they do probably at the end of the video, because I have a little remote with them, so it does all sorts of fancy stuff. So anyway, I'm digressing. So the pattern I've used a 3.5mm hook. I've used nearly a whole ball of the blue, that's what I've got left, of Mariana double knit, and the shade is 086 even, Royal. There we go. Apologies for the nail varnish. I haven't had time to take it off and put some fresh on. It's all chipped and horrible, but it's part of being a carer, unfortunately. The cream that I've used again is Mariana double knit, in the shade 041 cream. It's about the third of a ball left. That one's not going to focus, is it? Oh, there we go. Jolly good. There's about a third ball left. I'm a centre puller, so it looks like there's more there than there actually is. I actually had a third of a ball left over from another skein that I'd already started, so I used that first, and then used a fresh ball because I wasn't quite sure how much it was going to use. So again, it was around about 100 gram ball. I think they're around about 300 meters in Mariana double knit. They're 100% acrylic. So the pattern actually called for, it did call for a 3.5mm hook, but it called for Aran weight yarn, so I've used thinner yarn than it recommended. Now if you're going to use this for a project bag, you could do what I've done and just use double knit. This is what I'm going to use it for. Unfortunately, charities don't really take bags, and I fancied making one, so it's one of those things, but I can use it as a project bag. The yarn it actually recommended was Rico? Where did that come from? Rico Creative Cotton Aran, which is 100% cotton. They're 50 gram balls which have 85 meters on them. You'd need, if you're going to do the black and white version and the colour to match the handles across the top, you'd need 4 balls of black, which is shade 90, 3 balls of white, which is shade 80, and 1 ball of light pistachio, which is shade 44. You'll obviously need 2 bag handles. The measurements for their bag came out at 43 by 31 centimetres, which is 17 by 12.25 inches. So mine's very slightly smaller than that because I've used different yarn. Okay. Now I did, the reason I've made this bag was I don't normally dream about my crochet. I know some people do. I know Jan's mentioned she dreams about stuff and thinks about stuff in bed. I really don't. I'm on medication. those who've been with me for a while will know that I suffer from mental health problems. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and my antidepressant has a sedative effect as one of the side effects. So when I go to sleep, I crash. It takes me a while to get to sleep, but when it kicks in, I go very, very heavy. So I tend not to dream about my crochet. This was the one exception to the rule, actually. I was trying to decide which bag to make because I wanted to use the handles up. I wanted to sort of try and make another bag because I haven't done very many of them. And I dreamt about this, and I dreamt about it being in these colours rather than the black and white. I did dream about this bit actually being the same colour as that, but I didn't want to buy yarn, and it would have been Aran weight and it would have been different. So the nearest colour I could find was this one, but it wasn't an exact match, and I ummed and ahed. So this is Mariana double knit, and it's a shade C-003 lemon. I don't know if they still do this shade because this one's quite an older one. So my friend and I had a long discussion about it because I couldn't make my mind up, and she said she thought the cream would look better, so that's what I've gone with. So that's why the handles are a different colour. For the pattern, as you can see, you can hold, it's quite deep, so it's pretty good. So if you're going to use it for a shopping bag, I would just say make sure you use cotton yarn. If you're just using it project bag, then you know, obviously acrylic yarn's fine. So they're all 100% acrylic that I've used. So you start with a base with a magic loop or magic ring or cinch circle, depending on what you decide to call it. And basically, well, the first round, you're just doing your US singles or UK doubles in stitches into your magic ring. Then rows 2 to 6, which I am going to tell you about, basically becomes a repeating pattern at a certain point for your base. So rows 2 and 3 are basically 2 stitches in each stitch. So basically you're doubling your stitches for each row. Round 4 is a straight double crochet UK terms single crochet, so 1 in each stitch. Round 5 is an increase row, so this is using the amigurumi method. And round 6 is a straight single crochet row. It's US terms double crochet if you're in the UK. And then round 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 alternate between an increase row and a straight single crochet row, increase row, straight single crochet row, or double crochet of course if you're in the UK. And then rows 13 to 24 is repeating rows 2 to 3, which we've obviously gone through, and that creates your bag. So it's not a perfect circle, but you so basically end up with this disc. It's very hard to show you because it's attached to the other part of the bag now, but it's sort of a disc shape. It's not a perfect disc. Then when you start working the sides, the first round, so you're still working in the blue or the black depending on obviously which you're choosing to work with, or whatever your main base colour is. You do 1 round of US singles, UK doubles, working in the back loop of each stitch. So it's 1 stitch in each stitch working in the back loop. There are loads of great, if you're new to, I know there's quite a few of you that are new to crochet, there are loads of tutorials that do show you how to do back loop only, so if you're not sure how to do that, there are tutorials on YouTube for that. And then from then on, you start using, there's a little chart, it's basically blocks of colour with either white or black marked. So basically round 2, right, so round 2 to round 39, just making sure I'm telling you this right, you're basically using the chart. Now I'm not going to show it because obviously it's a copyrighted pattern and I've got to be careful, but basically you have a 4 row repeat. Each row starts slightly differently, but you have each row basically ends up with 3 stitches of one colour, then 1 stitch of another, and there you'll see there's 3 stitches of one colour, then there's the white, 3 stitches of one colour. There you've got 3 stitches of white, 1 of blue. And that's basically how it works around. Now the beginning of each row is slightly different than that, but as the main bulk of it, that's how I remembered it, and that kind of made it easier to work with. Now the stitches you used is one I hadn't come across, and it is called they call it EDC, which was extended double crochet. Now this is UK terms, so US terms would be an extended single crochet. So if you haven't come across it, basically what you do is you insert your hook into your stitch as normal, yarn over hook and pull through, so you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn round to the hook and pull through your first loop on the hook, yarn over your hook and pull through 2. So basically, instead of pulling through 2 like you normally would, you pull through 1, yarn over and pull through 2, and that makes an extended single crochet or extended double crochet, depending on the US or UK terms. So that's the main stitch. So that's something I haven't really come across. Really, I've come across it a little bit, but this is I think the biggest project I've done with it. So this is how it comes out. So it just makes a slightly bigger stitch than a normal single crochet, but it doesn't look an awful lot different, I don't think. And then row so you do that to row 39, then row 40 with your main base colour. So for me it was the blue. You do an extended double crochet UK terms, extended single crochet in US terms, in 1 in each stitch all the way round. And then you change your colour to whatever your border colour is. So for me it was cream. So you start working on this bit here, and you work around where you're working an extended double crochet or extended single crochet in the back loops only of each stitch, right the way round. And then, so that's row 41, so you're basically carrying on from obviously your pattern, and then rounds 42 to 48 you're doing basically an extended double crochet or extended single crochet in each stitch all the way round, and the final round is a slip stitch in each stitch. Then what you do is you fold over, so this is the underside or the back of my work here. Now I could have folded it a little bit further down, so I could have folded it here, so this is where it started, but I've actually left a couple of rows, partly to make the bag a little bit bigger, and just to make it a neater edge at the top, because I found when I was trying to fold it here it didn't look quite so neat. So for me that was just personal preference, so the border could have been just a tiny bit bigger. So I've whip stitched all the way along, all the way round. Do make sure that you've got it even and you've got the same number of rows, obviously all the way around, that's folded over. And then for the handles, now this is a bit crude. I've never stitched in handles before, so if I've done this wrong, please somebody tell me. But there was basically a hole here, so I've just threaded yarn through my stitches and through the handle to secure it. So I don't know if that's the right way of doing it. That's how I've done it. It said to do it a little way inside the bag, which I've done. And I sort of eyeballed it, so I got them even. By some miracle I got them even. Yeah, so one thing I will say, when you're doing, that's the other bit I've missed, sorry. Still getting back in the swing of things. It's been a funny old year so far. When you're doing the extended double crochets, UK terms, single crochets if you're in the UK, extended singles, you're actually using the tapestry technique. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard of it, but if you haven't heard of it, the tapestry technique, basically you carry your yarn behind your stitches, so your yarn lays flat that you're not using, and you basically stitch around it. So if I was carrying the cream, the blue would go round the cream but at the back of my stitch, so it's hidden. you work around it, and then you keep basically swapping. So when you're swapping colours as you go along, you're carrying the yarn that you're not using at that particular time along. There are loads of great tutorials on how to do tapestry technique. It's a little bit fiddly. You have to watch your yarn doesn't get tangled. A couple of times I got in a bit of a pickle. So that was a learning curve. That's kind of one way of doing colour work. It does mean, if you do that, obviously you're using a lot of yarn that you're carrying, but you don't have a lot of ends. And this is the one thing I'll say about this project: there were not a lot of ends in this project at all to sew in. So if you don't like weaving in ends, this is a great project for that. It's also a good one for your skill set because you're learning extended UK double crochet or extended US extended single crochet. Also got the tapestry technique in it, so it's a great one for challenging yourself. It has certainly challenged me. The one thing when you're doing the full pattern repeat you must be aware of is to concentrate. At one point I accidentally put 3, so sort of round about here, I put 3 blue instead of 3 cream, and then went back to how it should have been, and I did 2 more rows on top of it, and then when I got round it a couple of rows later I realised that I've made a mistake and it threw the whole pattern out. So you do need to concentrate for this project. That's not to say that you can't just sit and do it with the TV, but you do need to concentrate more than you know perhaps you would if you were just doing a granny square or something like that. But I did enjoy doing it. Like I said, it was a little bit mentally taxing, so I'm hoping to do something a little bit less taxing. So I've got another project bag that I can use. So yeah, so I'm actually quite pleased with it. So this is the one thing that I've dreamt about, and Chip's deliberately flown over to, I've got a wicker hamper over there, and yeah, she does it because she eats it, and she's trying to get attention because I'm ignoring her right now. Hey ho, they say don't work with animals and children, don't they? I'm just glad we don't have the children here. So that's it for the crochet bit. I hope I've explained that alright. It's a difficult balance. I would have shown the chart if it had been a free pattern, but it's not, so it's a little bit of a tricky one, but hopefully that's given you enough to work within, sort of giving you some new techniques to look into as well, perhaps if you haven't come across them. I'm just keeping an eye on her. Okay, so that's it for the craft bit. Life update, very short and sweet. We're trying to find the new normal after losing both our dogs. Chip has been a little bit naughty. I think she's... Hey! She went to eat it. She's got a thing about eating wicker, and she's destroyed my basket. So, come on. Come on. Good girl. Yay! I didn't think that would have worked. Good girl. So Chip is my cockatiel if you're new to the channel. We actually have 2. We've got a female Chip who lives in the living room. She's tame, very affectionate girl, likes a lot of attention. We have a male cockatiel in the other room called Billy. He's not tame and will bite us given the chance. He's a lovely boy, but he's not hand tamed. So yeah, so that's just if you're new to the channel. I know a lot of you know who they are already, but Chip's quite vocal because I'm giving you guys attention and not her, so you're very special. So the life update really is just that life's getting back to normal as much as it's able to. My mum's still adjusting. Her other dog is pining a bit, so we're just having to keep an eye on him. It's going to be an adjustment for all of us that have had those dogs in our lives. So I had a couple of days at the weekend where I was just very numb, kind of just went into a state of shock really. Today marks, I'm recording this on Tuesday, so today marks literally a whole week since we said goodbye to Charlie. I don't kind of know where that week's gone. I feel like it's gone in a bit of a blur, as I'm sure you'll all understand. I just want to say thank you to those of you that have messaged on my last video and said not to worry about replying to comments on Bella and Charlie's videos. I'm still undecided what I'm going to do, but at the very least I will like all the comments to indicate that I have read them, or I may just perhaps reply to ones where people shared stories and stuff. I'm not too sure quite what I'm going to do yet, but I do appreciate all you guys putting me first and not worrying about me replying. I really do appreciate it. You guys are all so amazing. I love you all, whether we have a lot of contacts or not. I do appreciate you all watching, and I do very much appreciate all your love and support this last couple of weeks. I'm hoping that the rest of the year is going to be a lot more positive than this. You don't know what you know, I lost relatives last year, so you just don't know what the year's going to hold, do you? But I'm hoping that's going to be all our bad news for the year. So there isn't really a lot to report, really. Mum and I have been shopping this morning. Her shopping has diminished because she's obviously not having to buy for 2 dogs. Obviously, having a Labrador, they like the food, so that's been a bit of an adjustment today. We did go shopping last week, but we were both in such a daze after losing Charlie that we didn't really kind of register anything, but it was registering more today. But other than that, life kind of goes on, doesn't it? And I'm very sad. I've been struggling with flashbacks a little bit. Unfortunately, when you've got mental health problems, PTSD type symptoms can be a thing. So I've been having flashbacks to having both of them put to sleep. I've been having flashbacks to both of their lives, things that I've forgotten, but particularly with Bella. Things that I haven't thought about in years, things that I'd forgotten have been coming to the forefront, and they will come very suddenly as a flashback, and so it can catch you off guard a bit, but it's been nice to remember some things that I had absolutely forgotten. My friend has actually suggested that I write down those memories while they're still sort of fresh in my mind, so I am considering doing that. Yeah, so life goes on. I'm very sad, obviously, and I will be probably sad for a long while. I don't know that you ever get used to whether it be a person or a furry friend. I don't know if you ever get used to them being gone. I guess you just find a new kind of normal, and so that's basically what we're trying to do now. It was a little bit tearful yesterday, but today I'm okay. So as you would expect, it comes and goes. Other than that, there's not really much to report. It's just normal life as usual. I am at the point where I need to start putting Christmas presents away, because I still haven't actually done that, because there's been so much going on. We do still have Bella's ashes to collect, and we haven't had the phone call yet, so that is something that we are waiting on. So we do have that difficult thing to do. As far as we know, it will be this week. Yeah, so apart from that, as you will have possibly noticed, I've got new lights. It's got a clear cord on it rather than the green. The lights I had, actually sort of this part here was actually broken on them. This one comes with a fancy remote, but I've discovered that you have to point it at the plug, which is round the corner. But these lights do all sorts of fancy things. So would you like to see very quickly, if I pop my head out that way just so I can reach, and I can show you. So it has different modes on it. So that's just on. As you can see, the twinkle. If you are photosensitive, I would suggest you look away. If you've got photosensitive epilepsy. That one, obviously, it changes. I'm doing this all with the remote. I'm just leaning out of the way. So aren't these posh? They weren't actually that expensive, and so they've got all different sequences. Some come off very slowly, so I'm going to turn them off so that it will focus on me. So what did you think? Did you like that? I was hoping to use them during videos, but this is actually my third time recording, because I found when the lights were on, the camera was trying to focus on the lights and not on what I was showing you. So when I was going up close and further away, it didn't work. So you may not see them on. We will be using them in our day-to-day lives, because we do have them on every day. Whether you guys will get to see them, I don't know. It just depends on what I'm recording. But I thought you might like to see. I got them off Amazon, and it came with this little remote, so you can just sit in your chair and turn them on. So I thought that was pretty cool. It also has a timer facility on it. We had a plug-in timer, which means that we don't need that anymore. So we've got a spare timer, which we can use for Spike's tank, which is always useful for his UV and heat lamp. So if you're new to the channel, you don't know who Spike is. Spike is our bearded dragon. So we have a bit of a menagerie of animals. But yeah, so anyway, I thought you'd like to see that's just something a little bit fun, and you know, trying to get the channel upbeat and back to normal, and trying to get things back to a normal positive place. So I actually bought these before we lost Bella, and I just haven't had time to put them up, so I finally got around to putting them up today. So that's it. Sorry it's slightly longer again than normal, but I'm going to finish it here. So until next time, remember to stay well, happy crafting, thank you for all your support, and until next time, remember to stay true to yourself. Bye!